Come on up.
So, sorry if you've been asked this one a lot, but
It's okay.
which one do you consider Rumble and like which one do you consider Frenzy? Red or blue? Yeah, you know.
Well, if I had my Transformers Universe book here, I could just point you to the pictures, but they are different. I think they're identical except they have different colors. So I would refer you to that reference material. That's all I could tell you. Anything else?
No, just kind of wondering.
All right, last call.
Come on up.
Come on up.
In the original miniseries, when Spider-Man was introduced into Transformers, whose idea was it to separate Marvel and Hasbro, the characters?
Well, when you say who, what do you mean whose idea
Like
was to
taking
separate it?
the superheroes out of the Transformer fiction.
Well, okay, so here's what was going on. So the first 4 issues of Transformers, the miniseries, we had 3 different writers, and there was a reason for that because nobody could get a handle on writing that book. It was it was too many characters. It was, it just was a mess. So as the editor, I became almost like dictating the plots to the writers to get them to get from, page 1 to the last page because they were just struggling. So we went through a bunch of writers, and the third writer, I believe, was Jim Salicrup, who coincidentally was the editor of Spider-Man at the time. So he thought it would be a good idea to help sell more books to feature Spider-Man as a guest star. I said, sure, if you want to put Spider-Man in there, that's a great idea. Now, here's the interesting thing. Hasbro rejected it. And you could say, why would Hasbro? And I went to Hasbro. I said, he's our #1 character. He's our flagship character. We're giving you the opportunity to promote your new product by putting Spider-Man on the cover, and you're rejecting it. The reason they rejected it was, at the time, Marvel had a deal with another toy company to produce action figures. And among those action figures was Spider-Man. So Hasbro looked at it as, well, you're helping to promote our rival toy company by selling Spider-Man. So we came up with, well, not we, but Jim Salicrup came up with an idea. We had a new Spider-Man costume that had just been recently introduced, the black and white costume, which was not among the toy licenses that the other company was doing for action figures. So we said, okay, if we put him in a black and white costume instead of his red and blue costume, would that be okay? And he said, oh, okay. So that's how Spider-Man wound up. But looking back, it's a big mistake because as a result, Spider-Man is owned by Marvel and the Transformer comic books, which get reprinted constantly by other publishers that are not Marvel, then they have to deal with like this one issue where Spider-Man appears. And I don't really know how they do. I think sometimes they've gotten permission to use those issues in reprints, and sometimes they haven't. I really don't follow it. But it does create that kind of... So we kind of avoided that in the future. There was a couple of other minor Marvel references in future issues. There was one reference, I think, with the Dinobots to the Savage Land. Savage Land is a Marvel concept. And when I introduced a character called Circuit Breaker, I didn't feel so generous as to create a character that has potential beyond Transformers and give it to Hasbro. So Circuit Breaker was introduced in one panel of a Marvel comic book called Secret Wars, so she could be Marvel copyright and not Hasbro copyright.
Okay. And a follow-up question. G.B. Blackrock, was he originally based on Tony Stark?
No. He was based on, I think I had a vague idea of like Rockefellers, like this oil executive. No, not so much Tony Stark. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
And his name came from a friend of mine. I have a friend named Gary Bennett Schwartz. Schwartz translates to black. So I named GB, Gary Bennett, Blackrock. And Rock is from Rockefeller. Yeah.